Hi, my name is Megan and this is Agree to Disagree. I know what you're thinking. New host? Trust me, I'm the best person to host this episode and let me tell you why. You see, I like to play different roles on my POV skits on TikTok.
Ayo, back to school check.
And sometimes my younger sister appears in my videos too. We're really close, although she's 14 years younger than me. I love creating content with her, and some of my best Instagram pictures are actually taken by her and my younger brother. But sometimes I get mistaken for a teen mom. And you know what? I am a teen mom to them.
I've changed their diapers, gotten them ready for school, cooked their meals, helped with homework. Nowadays, I even take them out on brunch dates and pay for their expenses.
And when I don't have my hands full with them, I work with kids as well. I love kids, and I think they love me too. But kids of my own? No, thank you. Being a teen mom to my siblings gave me a glimpse into what parenthood looked like, and it's greatly influenced my decision to not want kids of my own. I'ma stick to being a pank instead. But Megan, don't say so soon, later you regret. It's one thing to be great with them, but another to care for them for the rest of their lives. And I'm not sure if I'll ever be ready to bear such a huge responsibility. But it seems like increasingly, there are more people that think like me than less. Data from the latest census shows that the number of childless married women across all age groups increased over the last decade. Of course, I'm not here to tell you whether or not you should have kids. Chances are, you're already leaning towards one side more than the other. I want to find out just what people from both camps think about making such a major life decision. And I'll be getting a mom to come fight it out with me. Do we really and truly want kids in this post-pandemic climate? Let's start arguing. Let's start off simple. Biology. From an evolutionary standpoint, we were made with a specific goal to reproduce, and we owe our existence to this process. It's natural to want to have children. You know that feeling of longing that some people experience relating to the desire of having a child? It typically manifests in an individual watching a baby video and going, "So cute!" Well, that's baby fever, and it's the reason why this boy has 7.5 million followers on TikTok. Psychologically, men also develop baby fever. It's not just us women. The interesting difference between the two is that women's desire for having children goes down over time, but increases in men. I mean, check out some of these really cute confessions by men having baby fever on Reddit. If we were biologically hardwired to want kids, wouldn't the longing to have kids be the same for everyone? People who don't want kids have been told countlessly by others that they'll eventually regret their decision.
Oh, look at that baby! Isn't he the cutest baby?
What? No, what?
In fact, we're learning that the urgency to have kids might not be triggered by biology after all. Instead, the true culprit might be culture norms combined with an impending fertility deadline. In the past, having children was an unchallenged rite of passage and a solid retirement plan. But times have changed. Now that I've gotten the chance to study the course of my choice in university and the opportunity to pursue a career in what I'm actually passionate about, having children is simply not a top priority for me and so many other women. And that's okay.
Megan, hear me out. Sometimes things change, and I'm a prime example. Hi, I'm Cool Mom Diana on YouTube, and I vlog about my life in Singapore with my 2 kids and family. So I grew up my whole life not wanting kids. I was an investment banker turned fashion designer living in San Francisco, New York, and Beijing. And I was also a competitive Latin ballroom dancer, so I wasn't gonna risk giving everything up just to have kids. No way. But my dad's sudden passing when I was 25 really put me through a major quarter-life crisis, which changed the way I viewed the world. In the face of death, I had to consider what would be my biggest regret, and not having kids would be one of them. Now at 36, I have 2 kids whom I love very much, and I'm everything I was before kids and more. I absolutely agree that if you want to experience unattached freedom, having kids will make it a lot harder. But identity is a fluid thing, so of course parenthood changes you into someone else. If there's something that you want to do, do it. But don't use the imagined possibility of doing something as a reason for not having kids.
I get it. I completely empathize. As an older sister, seeing them mature into the people that they are today makes me so proud. But the experience of being an almost mom has shown me things about parenthood that I just can't shake. For one, it's a huge privilege not to lose your sense of identity in parenthood, let alone growing as an individual. In this pandemic, the rising cost of childcare has influenced some parents to give up their jobs, stay home, and raise their kids. And we know that a career is a huge pillar of a person's individual identity that they'd be giving up. And often, women bear this burden more than men. Also, it's so expensive to raise a child in Singapore. It costs at least $200,000. That's more than the full CPF retirement sum. This can easily go up after you factor in leisure activities, hobbies, holidays, tuition, and enrichment classes. Research also shows that it's a myth that being a parent brings you more joy. Because of the constant low-level stresses that parents face, the overall happiness of non-parents and parents are essentially the same. While overall life satisfaction of parents may be higher than non-parents, that as a reason alone in bringing a child into this world feels slightly selfish. And speaking of selfish, what about all the emotional trauma you'll be passing on to your kids, intentionally or not?
There is self-interest involved in having kids, but it's self-sacrificial too. After my first son was born, I was so angry at the world because I didn't know how hard it was to be a mom. I was fat, ashamed, invisible. I felt like a breastfeeding machine. And remember that loss of self that we talked about earlier? I don't think there's a better example of it than being a postpartum mom. I think it's cruel to say a selfish person would put themselves through all of this pain only so that they could benefit. But that's also the thing about anything worth pursuing in life, is that you go through these really challenging initial days of hazing. But eventually over time, you rebuild this whole new way of viewing the world with fresh wonder. And in the case of being a mom, the love I've received purely from giving, unmatched. The reality is also, no matter how hard we try, there is no guarantee we won't leave any emotional scars on our kids. I mean, we're only human too. We cannot control the outcome, but we should always just have the best intentions. Also, fun fact, research shows that adults tend to be less selfish and more willing to help when they're around children.
But what about climate change? Isn't it selfish to bring a kid onto this earth when we're already struggling to keep above water? Literally. A study found that having one fewer child than planned could reduce carbon emissions by 58 tons in each year of their lives. This makes not having children the greatest impact individuals can have in fighting climate change. And this is a real concern for people in our generation. 1/3 of Americans aged 20 to 45 cited climate change as a factor in their decision to have fewer children. Seems like it doesn't really make sense to add to our population right now.
So actually, take a look at this chart from a recent study done on how lifestyles affect climate. So these numbers are based off of how much carbon emissions each person contributes today. In the real world, a more realistically impactful way of making environmentally friendly lifestyle choices is by limiting resources. And that means choosing to live car-free and also maybe taking just one less transatlantic flight. I know to some, having kids today seems like we're dooming them to a bleak future. Call it rebellious hope, but I choose to believe that we can make the world a better place. After all, a big part of the reason we're fighting climate change is so that the planet still exists for the next generation. Now, sacrificing the next generation for the planet seems a little bit counterintuitive. Hey, baby. Hey. Okay. I'm gonna be home soon, okay? It's almost time for me to go back to momming, but take it from me. Trust the process. Emotional motivations are really hard to ignore. And personally, having my 2 boys made me realize these are the best things in life.
At the end of the day, ask anyone whether they want kids, and most people would already have an idea of where they're leaning towards. This is, after all, a really personal issue. And it's almost impossible to decide solely based on logic. But it doesn't mean we should ignore the practical aspects of what it means to be a parent. What we should focus on is to re-examine our intentions for wanting to have kids. Instead of asking yourself if you're ready to have a child, the more appropriate question might be, are you ready to be a parent? Do you understand the implications of raising a child in today's world? For now, I still stand firm in my calling to be a tank. But who knows what life might bring. Do you want to have kids in this post-pandemic climate? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to share this video with your friends.